Hello, I'm Dr. Kerry Johnson. I'm the Associate Vice President for Undergraduate Studies at Cal State Long Beach. I oversee academic support services like advising, tutoring, supplemental instruction. And so I work really closely with advisors, and that's who we're going to be talking about today. With Dr. Paul Henderson, who is our Executive Director for University Academic Advisement and California Promise.
Thank you, Dr. Johnson. So again, I'm Paul Henderson, the Executive Director for University Academic Advisement and the California Promise Program. And so just during my transition here to Cal State Long Beach, right, I have the opportunity to work with our University Center for Undergraduate Advising, or UCUA, as well as the Bickerstaff Academic Advising Center, which works with our student athletes, and then our PASS, or Prerequisite Advising Support Service office. And so just working with our students as they transition into Cal State Long Beach, providing some resources to help them be successful, and then as well to help students along their journey.
Well, thanks, Paul. I should mention that you came here from Purdue University Northwest, and you have some extensive experience with advising. And so hopefully you can help us answer this first question, which is, why does advising matter?
Sure. Thank you for that question. Advising matters because, as students transition into the university environment, it is much different from their high school or if they're transfers from their community college environment. And so what we like to do is work with our students to become resources. So an advisor is that first person you'll meet on campus typically. Students are very excited about this opportunity to come to Cal State Long Beach, and we want to be able to provide those connections, whether it is to their peers, right? So whether it's a recommendation to join a student group, whether it could also be a recommendation to connect with a faculty member who is doing research in an area that you're interested in. And so at all times, it's key to check in with your advisor to build that relationship, because together we'll grow and progress towards completing your degree.
So when should a student seek out advising?
Yes, we would hope that students would connect with their advisors on a regular basis. I don't believe there's a magic number, but I would just say, at the beginning of the semester for sure, to make sure you're taking the right courses for that semester. Also to talk through any challenges you feel you may have with certain courses that might be difficult. That way we can identify resources for support, whether that's tutoring or the Learning Center or supplemental instruction classes, right, to help you achieve your goals, because it's so key to think through for that semester what you'll need in order to be successful. And then definitely ultimately a check-in during the middle of the year, just to think through how classes are going as you prepare to start registering for your upcoming semester. So those check-in points at the beginning, at the middle of the semester, and then hopefully again to talk about how great you did at the end of the semester too.
And all first-year students should expect that they will be meeting with their advisors, because at Cal State Long Beach, we also have freshman mandatory advising. So all students should plan to connect with their advisors during the semester, their first and second semesters here at Long Beach as well. So they usually hear some kind of communication. They receive a communication from either their college advising center, or if they're still exploring majors, from UCUA. So they will be definitely checking in order to register for the next semester. And then there are these other opportunities, as you said, for students to check in as well. What about UCUA, the University Center for Undergraduate Advising? What kind of resources does UCUA offer?
Sure. So we are the home for any undeclared students or students who are exploring their majors here at Cal State Long Beach. And so right from day one, we want students to feel confident in the major that they select. And so we have assessments or tools that we can use, similar to my majors assessment is one, to help a student think through things that they like to do, things that are interesting to them, and where they'd like to be long term. We also offer, workshops and strategies for success. I think it's so important, again, for students to kind of understand the transition, right, and be in connection with their advisor to talk through any challenges, right? We all experience challenges in life, and so it's all connected. We feel as though, if a student isn't doing well academically, she or he may have some issues with financial aid, right? So we want to be able to refer students to the financial aid office if that comes up, and then also refer students to other offices on campus to help them be successful. So with UCUA, first and foremost, we're helping students who are undeclared or undecided. So sometimes a student may have started in another college and she or he would like to think of changing their major, they're interested in another path. And so we'll help students with that. So the college advising centers will refer students to UCUA to talk through the the My Majors assessment, as well as talk through what are the major specific requirements to declare. So that's a big part of what we do, as well as help students understand the university policies and requirements for major declaration.
Great. I also know there are a lot of other programs and a lot of other responsibilities that the advisors in UCUA are involved with as well, and maybe you could talk a little bit about those.
Sure, sure. So we do as well work with some unique populations. So as I talked before, one of those populations is our Gen Excel. So students who are first generation college students. This is a wonderful program that helps students get connected not only to their peers, but they also work with a faculty mentor. Again, we want these faculty mentors and mentees, or who are first generation students, to come together to talk through some of the transition, challenges that are coming, and then help them right along the way. Also, we work with the transfer students. So we have a beach transfer and transition center. And that helps our transfer students who are coming in from a community college. And we started recently an ambassadors program to connect those students with their peers, right? The students who have been through that same transition coming into Cal State Long Beach from a community college to be successful here. So it's everything from, things that are helping with personal well-being, career connections, whether that's programs with the CDC or the Center for Career Development. And so we want to assist students, right, to meet their long-term goals. We also have a Beach Academy program for our students that, need some extra support, whether it's in composition or English, and then as well in math. And so I know I needed a little help with math along my way. And so I think students were really appreciative of those services that we provide to support them through that transition.
So how does a lack of advising impact a student's academic progress then?
Mhm. Well, I think our team, right, of advisors, whether it's in UCUA or in the academic colleges, right, we help students recognize consequences down the road. So although something may be in the present, let's say, for example, withdrawing from a course, right? If you don't talk with your advisor about withdrawing from a course or potentially withdrawing from a course, you don't know how that could affect, right, major declaration, as well as, timely degree pursuits. And so, right, we're usually that sounding board. Again, we're interpreting the university's policy. We want to empower students to understand those policies so that they can be successful. So if if you're checking in with your advisor or you're not, right, we want to make sure you don't make any missteps along the way, not take a course that's needed. University does make changes at times. And so if a general education requirement changes at some point, we want to make sure that the student is on the right path to complete those general education courses.
I know this is something we've been discussing as a community this semester. How can advising be made more equitable? This is a concern and an issue that we've all been exploring across our campus. And I know we've been having conversations specifically within the advising community about that.
Exactly. And so one thing that we're trying, or we're working towards, developing a plan to ensure that first and foremost, we are creating a welcoming environment for our students. I think that is key. As you look at, we have to be holistic in our approach. And so as we walk with the student along their journey, again, it is a two-way communication is important. And we're wanting to make sure that we're giving the student what she or he needs. And that's key. I don't think we can use anything cookie cutter. I believe it's so important to take the time to recognize that this student is unique. We as advisors also have to leave any bias that we have, right? To say to ourselves, if this student would like to pursue something in STEM or a high impacted major, right? What can we do to support them? We need to look at their strengths and not look at what deficits they have. We can get the support in order to help them reach and achieve whatever it is they want. And again, the student, if she or he is willing to work hard, there are systems and there are people and resources on that campus to help them become the student or professional that they want to be.
And I know that the community, the advising community, just this semester is also really looking carefully at the best practices for helping achieve equity in advising across campus. There's a series of roundtable discussions going on that really bubbled up from within the advisors themselves, because they know this is an important component of what they do with students, right? And to make sure that we find those barriers and remove those barriers when we can, and to help students really achieve their goals.
Again, as you said, it's something that we have to work towards every day, especially in this virtual environment. How do we connect with students? How do we ensure that we're providing the advising they need? And yes, advising is not just about academics or what classes a student needs to take. It's so much more about that personal relationship with the student, so we can recognize any barriers to success, to meet those challenges, and then help a student succeed ultimately. We want to ensure that all the courses that a student takes are meeting their degree, so they're not spending funds that they don't have or that, right, they don't need to spend. The cost of education, right, is important. We want to make sure students have the fiscal backing and understanding of what's important. So I would say that is one of the roadblocks that can really throw a student off track and delay their graduation. I thought I needed, a certain math course to make my degree requirements complete, and they were off, right? And so now they have to go back and take a second course, and potentially that will delay their graduation.
Yeah, I know we've seen that. We've certainly seen that, and it can add time and cost to a degree, right? If you don't know what you should be taking and what's coming next. And also, I think, as you mentioned, there are so many resources available to help students go to the right office, find the right person to talk to if they're having financial challenges, if they need some further exploration in terms of their careers, right? Advisors can help them, and that helps them stay on track as well. So I think that, what we all really understand within the advising community is how critical this relationship is, and that it's really key to student success to make sure that they seek out their advisors, they show up for those freshman mandatory advising centers, advising appointments, their first and second semesters when they're here, and to be sure that they take advantages of the resources that the advising community has to offer them. Thanks so much, Paul, for talking to us today. And we really hope that this has been informational for students, and they now see that making sure you connect with your advisor is a really important part of your success at Cal State Long Beach.
Thank you.